Hello Easy Nation, and welcome to a very special video. So, I have this massive Blu-ray collection. I've seen bigger. I've seen a lot smaller. But I just thought this would be a cool opportunity to show you my Blu-ray collection. Because, I talk about being such a film lover. I have a lot of films from a lot of decades, a lot of films that I love. Some of these are not the greatest films ever made, but a lot of these are like guilty pleasures of mine. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy watching my Blu-ray collection. I'm not going to go into full detail on a lot of this stuff, but because it's mostly just showing you what I have. So, let's begin. Also, before I start, one day, physical media is dying. It absolutely is dying. Studio places are dying out. One of my favorite places I go to, they're going out of business, and they sell mostly DVD, Blu-rays, and all that kind of stuff. Physical media. Eventually, you're only going to be able to buy stuff digitally, so I'm a supporter of physical media. Until it's no longer available, I'll be buying physical media. So, this is my collection so far. I'm thinking about doing this once a year, so it depends on how long this video actually is. First movie I have is the Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead combo pack. Love these movies. Hot Fuzz is one of my most rewatchable movies of all time, and Shaun of the Dead's a very cool zombie film. Great from Edgar Wright. I have 3 Rocky movies. I have the original Rocky, one of the greatest sports movies ever made. Rocky 4, one of the most American movies ever made. And also I have Rocky Balboa, a very great Rocky movie. I think the second best Rocky film of the entire series, other than the Creed movies, obviously. Next, I have The Road Warrior. Great film. I have the first of the 20th Century Studios Andy Serkis trilogy of Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Very good movie. I mean, this is an awesome film. I have the first Quentin Tarantino movie in my collection, and that is Reservoir Dogs. If you haven't seen Reservoir Dogs, do yourself a favor and watch Reservoir Dogs. It is amazing. Next, I have the season 10 of Red vs. Blue. I mean, this like I said, guilty pleasures always, but I enjoy this series, and even though I don't really like Halo that much, I enjoy this. This is my first of the trilogies of this list, and it's probably my worst trilogy I own, and that is the Hobbit trilogy. I have an Unexpected Journey, the Desolation of Smaug, and Battle of Five Armies. I mean, they're okay. I mean, I like them for what they are, but they're just okay. I mean, it could have been a lot better. Hitman's Bodyguard. Be honest with you, I don't even know why I own this movie, but I think I saw it for sale one day, and I was like, I enjoyed the movie enough. So yeah, Hell or High Water. Great modern day western. Jeff Bridges and Chris Pine, Ben Foster are great in this movie. This is a movie you should check out if you haven't. Heat is a great film. Al Pacino and Robert De Niro going face to face. I mean, that diner scene is absolutely incredible. My second Quentin Tarantino movie in my collection, and that's The Hateful Eight. Basically, Reservoir Dogs set in the West. Happy Death Day, a very fun little horror movie. Takes Groundhog's Day with a twist to it. Awesome. Great movie. Very much fun. Even the second one's good. I don't know that movie, but I would buy it if I ever saw it for sale, which it probably is. I have the Harry Potter, the 8-film collection. I love these movies. This was my Star Wars growing up, and I love this films. A great movie I've only ever actually seen once, so I probably need to check out doing a rewatch of this, and that's Hacksaw Ridge. This was Mel Gibson's comeback movie, and also Andrew Garfield was robbed an Oscar in this movie. My first of my MCU collection. Don't own all the Marvel movies, but I love Guardians of the Galaxy. It's such a fun movie. another really good movie, and that is Green Book. Love the story. Viggo Mortensen's amazing. So is Mahershala Ali. Great film if you have not checked it out. Another guilty pleasure, a movie I'm not really sure why I own, but I own it. And that's Goosebumps. Enjoyable movie. I never saw the second one. Don't think I really have to, but I enjoyed this one. Another trilogy, and it's I've never actually seen the third one, and that is the Godfather trilogy. Like I said, I've never seen Godfather 3. That's maybe something I check out doing maybe sometime next year. But parts 1 and part 2 are some of the greatest films ever made. Alright, first television series in this list, and that is the first season of Mad Men. I believe I bought this like at FYE or something, and it was for cheap, and I enjoyed the first season of Mad Men. If you haven't seen Mad Men, awesome series, you should check it out. I already talked about Road Warrior, but I have the entire first 4 movies of the Mad Max movies. That's all the Mel Gibson ones and Mad Max Fury Road. These are awesome movies. I haven't actually seen Thunderdome, but that's one I should check out maybe eventually. Speaking of Fury Road, I bought Fury Road first, got that collection during Christmas one year. I think the greatest movie trilogy of all time, and that is Lord of the Rings. People are like, what? Not Star Wars? No, I think Lord of the Rings is the greatest trilogy of all time. And these are movies I definitely want to rewatch after watching the Lord of the Rings series. Man of Steel. I'm glad we're finally getting Man of Steel 2. I'm curious to see what they do. I hope we don't get the happy tone Christopher Reeve version of Superman, but if we do, we do. Looper is one of my favorite Bruce Willis movies. Also Joseph Gordon-Levitt. This was a movie I was getting excited about Rian Johnson directing the Last Jedi. I was wrong, but this is still a great movie, and if you've not checked Looper out, it's good. This is my first in my X-Men collection, and that is Logan. I like Logan. I've only ever seen it one time. I've seen bits and pieces of it on TV. It's one I would want to check out again, but it's a very long movie, and I do like the movie. I'm curious to see him come back as Wolverine in Deadpool 2. One of my first Tom Cruise movie, and that is Live, Die, Repeat, or Edge of Tomorrow. If you saw this movie, the few people that saw this at theaters, this is an awesome movie. Great action. Groundhog's Day with an action twist to it. This is a great movie. If you have not checked it out, awesome. Alright. I got Lincoln Lawyer. Lincoln Lawyer is a great movie. If you've not checked out Lincoln Lawyer, it's great. Especially if you like a legal drama. It is very good. Speaking of Lincoln, I have Lincoln, the Daniel Day-Lewis, Steven Spielberg movie. This is a great biopic. If you're into history, I recommend checking out Lincoln. It is very, very good. Next is Limitless. This is another movie that's a guilty pleasure, but I really enjoy it. I think Bradley Cooper really knocks it out of the park, and it's a fun movie, a appeal that can extend your mind. Even the television is pretty good. It's disappointing that I only got a 1-season show. I have Letters from Iwo Jima, one of probably my favorite my second favorite Mel Gibson movie. Probably my favorite Mel Gibson movie he's ever directed, with him not starring in it, because this movie's awesome. I mean, a war movie told through the perspective of the Japanese point of the war, of the battle, was brilliant, and Clint Eastwood, one of the most American conservative directors, to tell a great story. I highly recommend checking out Letters from Iwo Jima if you have never seen it. I have The Last Naruto, the movie. This is based off from the series. Just reviewed this movie, actually, and I bought the movie because I was rewatching the series. Love Last Naruto, the movie. Check it out if you have not ever seen it. One of my favorite musicals, and that is La La Land. La La Land is a great musical. If you like a musical, and it's got Bradley Cooper, it's got Ryan Gosling, and it's got Emma Stone in this movie. It's an awesome film. Check it out. I got Kung Fu Panda 2. One of the coolest animation movie sequels out there. It's a great film. A lot of kung fu, Jack Black, very funny stuff. One of the best biopics is Malcolm X. Denzel Washington was robbed an Oscar, but he got that Oscar a couple years later. But if you've not seen Malcolm X, do yourself a favor and watch Malcolm X. It's such a good film. The remake of The Magnificent Seven, and which was a remake of The Seven Samurai. I think this is the only version of the movie I have, which is sad because this is my least favorite version. It's fine. It's just nothing compared to the originals. I have Baby Driver in here. I love Baby Driver. This was a very fun, another Edgar Wright movie. And it has a lot of cool action. And it's, when I think about it, I'm like, I want to watch this movie again. Now I have the original Avengers. Yeah, I mean, this is a movie that completely changed the game for Marvel and how superhero movies were made. Love the Avengers. I have The Town. Town, awesome action movie. Second movie directed by Ben Affleck. Check it out if you haven't. Especially if you like heist films. And John Hamm is a very good bad guy in the movie. One of my favorite animated movies of all time, Toy Story 3, is a masterpiece. I wish this was the finale of the Toy Story movies, but unfortunately, we decided to make Toy Story 4. True Grit, I've actually never seen this movie. I've seen the remake of it, and I'm curious to watch the original with John Wayne. I mean, this is probably one of his last great movies before he passed away. So yeah, that's a movie I definitely want to watch sooner rather than later. Unforgiven, one of the greatest westerns of all time. Completely takes a spin of the western genre and spins it on its head. If you've not checked out Unforgiven, do yourself a favor and watch Unforgiven. Unknown. This is a very cool Liam Neeson movie. Very different from the Takens of the world, but I really like Unknown, and I really want to watch this movie again. That's the sad part about doing all this, is I'm gonna want to watch all these movies again. I have Upgrade. I love Upgrade. This was a movie I've only seen the one time, but it has an action movie twist. Kind of reminds you of Terminator, but then we bring in the horror elements of this movie as well. So Upgrade, definitely a good movie. Next, I have Valkyrie. I haven't seen this movie in probably over 10 years, but the plot to assassinate Hitler, does it go well? Probably not, but I like this. It's directed by Bryan Singer. This is a movie I probably want to check out again sooner rather than later. So now I have one of these this is a 3-movie collection. I have V for Vendetta, The Watchmen Director's Cut, and Constantine. Actually, I've only seen one of these movies, and that's V for Vendetta. I've only seen bits and pieces of Watchmen and bits and pieces of Constantine, but I saw the collection, and I was like, that's a pretty 3 collection, and all 3 movies, I mean, I know one of them's controversial, and they're talking about making Constantine 2, so yeah, that's a cool collection. I had to have it. Another great biopic called Walk the Line. This is the guy who directed Logan, who's doing the new Indiana Jones movie. Biopic on Johnny Cash. Really got me into Johnny Cash music, because I love Johnny Cash now. This is another movie I've actually never seen, and that is Wall Street. Wall Street's Oliver Stone. I mean, this is I want to watch this movie one day, but I bought the movie because I'm like, oh, Wall Street, that's an iconic movie. Another guilty pleasure movie on this list, and that is Warcraft. Warcraft's a very fun fantasy movie. Wish it would have done a little better box office wise, because I could have totally seen a second one, but it costs a lot of money to make, and I could get not making a second one. The third movie of the Planet of the Apes series, and that is War for the Planet of the Apes. I don't like War better than Rise or Dawn, but I think War for the Planet of the Apes tells a good final story for the Andy Serkis character of Caesar. I'm hoping 20th Century Studios, Disney, doesn't screw up this movies, because that trilogy is great. Warrior, basically a remake of Rocky, just told through MMA vibes, and we have 2 Rockies instead of 1. Awesome movie. Tom Hardy, Joe Egerton are absolutely terrific in this movie. And this is coming from someone who doesn't even like MMA. Wedding Crashers. Very funny movie. I don't know what more to say about it. I just bought this movie recently, and that is West Side Story, the original. I would definitely want to buy the new one. I mean, it's a classic film, and if you've never seen West Side Story, it's great. One of my only Miyazaki movies I own, and that is The Wind Rises. Love The Wind Rises. I mean, tells a story about the guy who came up with the fighter plane for the Japanese military. Great film. Wind River, this is a movie directed by... I forget what the... Taylor Sheridan. And it's got Elizabeth Olsen and Jeremy Renner in there. It's a great movie. I've only seen it the one time, but it has very Hell or High Water vibes to it, and it's a movie I should check out again. I actually haven't seen this movie in a long time, and I bought this movie because this was my mom's favorite movie, and it's a movie I definitely need to check out again. So, miss you, Mom. Central Intelligence. This is my favorite Rock and Kevin Hart collaboration. The movie's fun, the action's great, the comedy's great. The Rock really and Kevin Hart play off each other really, really well. I have the 3 Captain America movies: Captain America: The First Avenger, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and Captain America: The Civil War. Love all 3 of these movies. If I had to choose my favorite, it'd be Winter Soldier. Civil War's great. I mean, I just rewatched it on TV the other day. It's a great movie. I mean, but Chris Evans is great in those movies. I have Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. If you've not seen this movie, my God, watch Butch Cassidy. I mean, Robert Redford and Paul Newman play off each other so well, and it's one I definitely want to know. I just bought that movie too. I have Bumblebee, the best Transformers movie to ever, live action Transformers movie to come out. I think this movie's great. I mean, it's awesome. The action, it's a coming of age story. It reminds me a lot of Iron Giant. Breakfast at Tiffany's. Breakfast at Tiffany's is a great film. Audrey Hepburn. Oh, love it. Stuff that happens? Yeah, it is, but that's fine. Good movie, though. Breakfast Club. Don't You Forget About Me. Great coming of age movie. John Hughes at his finest. Great characters. I mean, what more do I have to say? Braveheart is one of my top 5 movies of all time. Love Braveheart. I could talk about Braveheart all day, but I'm not going to. Alright, I got another movie trilogy, and that's the Bourne trilogy. And that is the Bourne Identity, the Bourne Supremacy, and the Bourne Ultimatum. I love all 3 of these movies. They're just awesome movies. They're very realistic James Bond. I wasn't a fan. I like Bourne Legacy okay. I didn't really care for the last one that much. It's one I want to probably own one day and watch it again and see what I really think about it. I have Bohemian Rhapsody. This is the story of Queen, Freddie Mercury. Rami Malek's great in the movie. Don't think he should have won an Oscar for this movie, but I'm in the minority probably in that. I have the 2 Blade Runner movies, the Final Cut version and Blade Runner 2049. Final Cut, Blade Runner's a movie I could never watch again, and I'd probably be fine with it. But 2049, I've only seen the one time, and I definitely want to watch it again. I mean, Denis Villeneuve, just magnificent director. I'm just glad he's still making movies right now. Alright, my first Star Trek movie I have, and that is Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. This is an awesome movie. The movie gets made fun of a lot. So we got to save the whales, but you know, there's more to the movie as well. I have Solo, the Star Wars story. This is the steelbook version of the movie. There's really nothing different to it, but it's always cool to have steelbooks, and it's hard to find steelbooks at a cheaper rate anymore just because of 4K. Spy, one of my favorite Melissa McCarthy movies, maybe it's because it pays homage to James Bond, and I'm a big Bond fan, but I think Spy is great. If you haven't checked out Spy, fun action. Split, this was a movie, in my opinion, made M. Night Shyamalan relevant again. He might be irrelevant again, but I really like Split. It's an awesome movie. James McAvoy is creepy and holy crap acting in that movie. I have my first Spider-Man movie, and that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. My favorite Spider-Man movie I have seen thus far. I mean, it's just awesome. The animation's great. Feels like a comic book. Awesome movie. I have Patriots Day, Peter Berg film. This is a great movie. If you haven't checked out Patriots Day, it's so good. I mean, the action's great. You feel tense. Was it probably a little soon to do story of the Boston Marathon? Probably, but I think the movie does a good job. Pale Rider is a Western by Clint Eastwood that I don't love, but, you know, it's Clint Eastwood. It's a Western. I believe he directed it. It's fine. One of my favorite comedies ever made. Probably one of my favorite Will Ferrell, and that's The Other Guys. I mean, I quote this movie a lot. I mean, I'm a flamingo, you gotta let me fly! Where'd you learn to drive like that? Grand Theft Auto! I mean, Other Guys is great. You know what I'm thinking, right? Aim for the bushes. I have Ocean's 11. Awesome little heist film. Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Matt Damon. What more can I say? Now You See Me. The first one's great. The second one kind of ruins the movie. It's not one of those I love, but, you know, I could definitely watch it right now. One of my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movies, and that is North by Northwest. Just an awesome Alfred Hitchcock spy thriller, and with a great, legendary Cary Grant. Awesome film. I have another 2-movie collection, and I've actually only seen one of these movies, and that's No Country for Old Men and Gone Baby Gone. I've only seen Gone Baby Gone. I need to watch No Country for Old Men because I always hear how amazing the movie is, and it's definitely one I want to check out again. And Gone Baby Gone is an awesome movie. I would just recommend this movie yesterday, and that is Nightcrawler. Jake Gyllenhaal was robbed an Oscar in this film, and he wasn't even nominated. That's the sad part about it. Jake Gyllenhaal is so creepy and so good in this movie. Just so good. This is an anime I've never watched, and that is Neo Genesis Evangelion. My brother bought this for me for Christmas, I think last year, and it's I don't know really anything about it, but it's something I'll have to check out eventually. I just haven't got to it. Speaking of anime, I had the first season of My Hero Academia. I love the show. I would like to complete the collection, but maybe I'll try to do that whenever more stuff comes out. If you like anime, if you like superhero stuff, My Hero Academia is good. I think the show got better after the first season, and I'm curious to see what ends up with it. Another classic film, and that is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Jimmy Stewart, I mean, what more can I say? I mean, he speaks in the Senate building and stands for like over 24 hours. I mean, it's just one of the most iconic scenes in Hollywood history. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, guilty pleasure, for sure. Doug Liman, great action. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, the movie that ruined our marriage, saying, you know, they're not even together anymore. Imagine that. Speaking of Brad Pitt, I got Moneyball, one of my favorite baseball movies. I love Moneyball. Awesome movie. So I have all 4 Mission Impossible movies I actually like. I've never seen Mission Impossible 4, but I'm sure I'll like it because it's very similar to 5 and 6. But I have 3, 4, 5, 6 because 2, not a good movie, and the first one is okay. Speaking of Tom Cruise, I have a lot of Tom Cruise. I guess you can tell I'm a fan. That's Minority Report. I just recently watched this movie. Well, this year I watched this movie for the first time. Love this movie. Can't believe it took me that long to watch it. Movie that changed action movies forever, and that was Matrix. Love The Matrix. The action is mind-blowing. Also, I have The Martian. Awesome little movie. It still proved Ridley Scott can make good films, and The Martian is definitely one of them. My other film on this list is The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Great John Wayne and James Stewart film. I mean, what more can I say about it? I mean, it's James Stewart, John Wayne. I mean, and the movie's still relevant to today about guns rights. Should everybody have a gun? I mean, it's something definitely relevant to today's time. Next, I have Titanic. Very good James Cameron movie. I mean, when the boat goes down, never let go, Jack. Never let go. I have the 3 Thor movies. I like the first Thor, and I like Thor Ragnarok. I don't like the second one that much, and the fourth one was okay. I don't own that movie yet. I would definitely buy it one day. Theory of Everything is another great movie biopic. Obviously, I love a good biopic, and Theory of Everything tells the story of Stephen Hawkins and everything. Very good movie. I have the only 2 Terminator movies to ever be released. That's the first Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Terminator 2 is a perfect action movie. And it still looks perfect. Terminator is a very cool little horror movie. And I think, it has probably aged a little bit, but, it's still fine. This is a movie I got as a gift from Rainy Cage, so there's your shout out, Rainy. It's Tangled. He upgraded it to the 4K, so he gave me the Blu-ray. So thanks, Rainy Cage, and I love Tangled. It's a good one. Another movie I have is Taken. I love Taken. This is a very cool action movie. Really kind of turned Liam Neeson into an action movie star. Recommend checking out Taken. This is another movie I've never seen, and that's The Sting. But I hear I love Butch Cassidy, so I'm sure I love The Sting as well. So I'll have to check it out soon. Next, I have Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is great. Michael Fassbender. Does he look exactly like Steve Jobs? No. But I like the story. I like Danny Boyle's directing. Great film. Next, I have a bunch of Star Wars movies. I have the original, or I have the prequel trilogy, which, these movies have really grown on me, especially after seeing the Disney stuff. I have the original trilogy, just perfect movies. And then I also have The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. The Force Awakens is actually a steelbook. I mean, look at that beautiful steelbook. And I have The Last Jedi. Don't have the steelbook. I wonder why. I gave my Rise of Skywalker to someone to borrow, and I've never gotten it back, and I'm okay with that. I also have the first 2 seasons of Star Wars Rebels. Really love the show. Love to finish the collection off someday. Next, I have Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This is another great John Hughes movie. Matthew Broderick is so good in this movie. Next, I have The Fighter. Fighter is an awesome movie. Christian Bale and Mark Wahlberg are great in the movie. Also, Amy Adams is pretty good in the movie as well. Great film. If you've not checked out Fighter, recommend checking it out. Speaking of fighting, unfortunately, guys, I can't talk about this movie because we all know the first rule of Fight Club. Another TV show, and that is the Blu-ray season of Firefly. Love the show. I could watch it again right now. Another MCU movie, and that is Doctor Strange. I love Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is a movie that's grown on me over the years, and I'll definitely like it better than Multiverse of Madness. I know I'm probably in the minority, but that movie just didn't do it for me. Next, I got Django Unchained. I love Django. Django is a great little film. It's another Quentin Tarantino movie. It's one of my most favorite rewatchable Tarantino movies, and it's one I want to watch again one day. This is another movie I haven't watched, and that is District 9. I've heard I will love this movie, so it's definitely one I need to watch. This is another movie I haven't watched, and that is The Dirty Dozen. I believe my brother bought me a bunch of war movies when me and Rain Cage were doing the Easy K show, and we did the top 10 war movies, and he said, these are movies you should watch. I was like, okay. So, I own 2 Die Hard movies, and that is Die Hard, the greatest Christmas movie ever made, and I have Die Hard with a Vengeance, a great sequel, which was the 3rd Die Hard movie, because Die Hard 2, it's a movie. Next, I have another Blu-ray steelbook, and that is The Wolf of Wall Street. I don't know how I found this, but I found this for a pretty cheap rate, and like I said, I love steelbooks, and Wolf of Wall Street is definitely one that I'm glad is in my collection. The Wolverine, another X-Men movie. This is a lot better than X-Men Origins, which I do not know for some reason. I wonder why. Next, I have Wonder Woman. This movie's awesome. This was a movie that was like, man, DC, let's go. And then Joss Whedon's Justice League happened. But No Man's Land scene alone makes this movie amazing. Another X-Men movie, and actually I have a bunch of X-Men movies. I'll just go ahead and talk about all of them. I have X2, X-Men United. Great movie, really changed the game for superhero movies. X-Men First Class, great origin story. Definitely my favorite of the 3. I have X-Men Days of Future Past, which was a great, which basically it reminds me of Terminator 2, just a little different. And then X-Men Apocalypse, it happened. I've never seen Dark Phoenix, but I've heard Apocalypse looks like a masterpiece. This is a movie that's getting remade, and that's Your Name. This is an anime movie. This is such a good movie. It's a body swap movie, but these two characters that kind of fall in love with each other. It's a great film. Check it out. Zero Dark 30. If you've not checked out Zero Dark 30, it's great. Jessica Chastain is amazing. Catherine Bigelow directs this movie. It's such a good film. Another trilogy, and that is Back to the Future. I've actually only seen Back to the Future 1, but Part 2 and Part 3 is definitely on my list to watch one day, even though I've heard mixed things about both of them. I have 2 more Avenger movies in this list, and that is Avengers Infinity War, which I think Infinity War is better than Avengers Endgame. I know I'm probably in the minority. I don't know if I'm in the minority about that, actually. But I think Infinity War is better than Endgame, because Infinity War is more The Empire Strikes Back, and it tells the villain story, which we've never seen in a Avengers movie or a Marvel movie thus far. But Endgame's great too. I mean, it really brings a close to the 10 years of the MCU. Next, I have Batman Begins. Great Batman movie. Really, Christopher Nolan. I mean, this is the first Christopher Nolan movie I've talked about so far. Love this film. Check it out if you've not seen Batman Begins. Next, I have Beauty and the Beast. Love this movie. One of the greatest Disney animation movies ever made. I have Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. The sequel comes out. I don't know when this video will get released, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the second one, especially with Chadwick Boseman's passing. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I like this movie. It was an enjoyable film. Was it perfect? No. Could it have been better? Yes, it could have been a lot better, but it is what it is. I have Avatar, the Last Airbender. This is the Blu-ray of the series. I love Avatar. I've seen the show many times, and now that I've canceled Netflix, yep, bye-bye Netflix. I'm sure you'll miss me. Not. I'll now be able to watch it whenever I want. I have The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. The only reason I bought this movie was because me and Rain Cage were doing top 10 Brad Pitt movies, and I couldn't find this movie any streaming service. So I bought this movie, found it pretty cheap, and it's not bad. It's a little slow, but it's fine. I have the second season of Arrow. I like Arrow. I think the second season is definitely the best season of the show. Check it out. Arrival, another Denis Villeneuve movie. One of my favorite Denis Villeneuves. I like the different stories it tells, using different kind of science, and it's a very smart sci-fi movie. Argo, F Yourself. Argo is a great film. My favorite Ben Affleck directed. Maybe my favorite Ben Affleck movie, period. Great film if you've not checked out. I have the first How to Train Your Dragon movie. Cool little Blu-ray, right? It's got Toothless right there. Cool movie. I got the first Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I like these movies. I didn't like the third one so much, but it is what it is. End of Watch is a great cop movie. It does a really found footage film. Jake Gyllenhaal. I've talked so much about Jake Gyllenhaal in this video already, but he's awesome in this movie. Next, I have Dunkirk. Dunkirk's awesome. If you haven't seen Dunkirk, check it out. Christopher Nolan. It's one I definitely need to watch again. I have Drive. This is a movie I've never seen, but I like Ryan Gosling, and I've heard Drive is great, so I definitely need to check that out. Dragon Age Dawn of the Seeker. This is actually one of my first few Blu-rays I actually ever owned, and I'm a big Dragon Age fan, and it's one I enjoy enough. I don't call it perfect or anything, but it's fine. Next, I have Dr. No, the first James Bond movie. I think I just recently bought this movie. And I'm not the biggest fan of Dr. No, but it's the first James Bond movie. And I definitely want to own more James Bond movies. Next, I have Don John. Don John's awesome. I mean, Joseph Gordon-Levitt directed it. And I'm surprised he hasn't directed more stuff, because he's not a bad director. And Scarlett Johansson, so hot in that movie. Next, I have Goodfellas. Marty Scorsese. Great crime thriller, crime story. De Niro, Ray Liotta, the late Ray Liotta, and Joe Pesci are all good in this movie. Good Morning Vietnam! Good Morning Vietnam, great movie. Very comedic war movie, but in the end, it tells a very good story, and it's like, why are we over here? And I think it's something very underrated about the film. Gone with the Wind is 1939, beautiful film made, a very long movie. It has an intermission in the Blu-ray. It's a movie, if you've not seen Gone with the Wind, it's definitely one you have to check out. Gone Girl, my God, Gone Girl, what a movie. I mean, Ben Affleck's great, and Rosamund Pike is crazy as hell in that movie. It's one of those movies that you realize it's okay to be single. Goldfinger is a good movie. It's one of my favorite Sean Connery, James Bond movies. It is great. Check it out. I have the first Godzilla movie. It's not perfect by any means, but it's okay. It could have been a lot better. Could have been a lot worse, too. My only problem is it's kind of like the Transformers. They don't show enough of Godzilla. I have Fury. Fury's a great movie. Brad Pitt, a tanker film. Great film. Frost Nixon. I've only seen like 15 minutes of this movie. I need to finish this movie one day. I think I would like it if I actually ever finish it. Ron Howard. Footloose, the original with Kevin Bacon. Awesome movie. And also the remake's pretty good too. Yeah, apparently that's the remake of Footloose. Still a good movie. I don't regret buying it. Adjustment Bureau. Great little Matt Damon and Emily Blunt movie. Very good. Really started that hot streak of Emily Blunt movies. This feels like it's been a trend today. But we have the Akira. I've never seen it, but I found a great deal of it during one of the last Amazon Day sales, so I had to pick it up. I have 40-Year Virgin. This is a very funny movie, very good. It really started that Steve Carell funny train, which, he made some really funny comedies during the time. I got The Amazing Spider-Man. Really like The Amazing Spider-Man. Would love them to do Amazing Spider-Man 3. Don't know if that's ever going to happen, but I love Andrew Garfield, and I think this movie's aged pretty well, and yeah. Next, I have 22 Jump Street. Love this movie. Great comedy. I've actually only seen it like one or two times. I've seen a couple scenes quite a bit, but I really enjoy that movie. Another trilogy. I got the Indiana Jones trilogy because there's only 3 of them. There's Raiders of the Lost Ark. Great action movie. Temple of Doom. It's okay. And Last Crusade. I think I like it the best. And yeah, these 3 movies are absolutely masterpieces. Next, I have Inception. Inception's awesome. One of my favorite Christopher Nolan movies. Really just so good. Next, I have The Imitation Game. Really good movie. I mean, I really like Benedict Cumberbatch in this movie. And also, Keira Knightley's great in the movie. I don't know why I bought this movie because I really don't care for it. But it's okay. It's not great. I Love You, Man. It's a very funny comedy. Love Paul Rudd in the movie. Also, Jason Segel's great in the movie. Great film. Another great Marty Scorsese movie. This movie is awesome. Hugo, very different from other Scorsese films, but it's still very good. The second How to Train Your Dragon movie. I don't like How to Train Your Dragon 2 better than the first one, but I do like it better than the third one. I think this movie is great. Another Tarantino movie. Inglourious Basterds is an awesome movie. If you've never checked out Inglourious Basterds, I highly recommend checking it out. This is a guilty pleasure movie of mine because I do enjoy The Internship. Is it a perfect movie? No, but it's enjoyable. I mean, Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn are great together. The King's Speech, awesome movie. I mean, Colin Firth definitely deserved the Oscar for this movie, and the movie won Best Picture. It's a movie I didn't check out till years later, but man, it's a good film. The Kingsman: The Secret Service. This movie is awesome. Just a very fun action movie. Love the movie. I got Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2. I like Kill Volume 2 a little better than 1, but it's really all the same movie. And once again, Tarantino. I have Kick-Ass. This movie does kick ass. This movie's awesome. The action's great. Nick Cage is amazing in the movie. Next, I have The Karate Kid. I love Karate Kid. I mean, Sweep the Legs, No Mercy. I mean, just such a great movie. Jurassic Park. There's only one of this. There's not another Jurassic Park movie out there. The Jurassic Park is a fun movie. Steven Spielberg brought dinosaurs to life. Jumper, another guilty pleasure. Doug Liman, Hayden Christensen, Rachel Bilson. I mean, this movie, Sam Jackson has a ridiculously horrible white wig, and it's awesome. This movie's a lot of fun. I have both John Wick movies. I don't have Chapter 3. I need to get that movie, but I'll get it one day. But these movies really revive Keanu Reeves' career, and they're great movies and a lot of fun. Joker, I've only seen it the one time. I don't see myself rewatching this a bunch, but this was a Christmas present, and I definitely want to watch this movie again one day. Jaws, movie that really created the summer blockbuster, created Steven Spielberg as a big top director. The shark scene, the Jaws music, still one of my favorite horror movies of all time. And yes, it is a horror movie. Next, I have The Iron Giant. This movie makes me cry every time I watch it. And that's saying something, because I don't usually cry a lot in movies. But Iron Giant gets me every time. Ip Man is a fun action movie with Donnie Yen. Great action. I've only seen it the one time, but I've actually never watched this movie. But on Blu-ray, I watched it on Netflix back in the day, but I need to check it out again. Interstellar. Great sci-fi, greatness of Matthew McConaughey, Murph. We gotta do this, Murph. Murph! Another steelbook, and that is Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. This is the one movie of the Star Wars movies that gets better every time I watch it. I like it a little more. Next, I have Sabrina. Humphrey Bogart, Audrey Hepburn. Great film. If you never checked out Sabrina, it's a good movie. The School of Rock, Jack Black, rock music. It's a great coming-of-age story. It's directed by that one guy who does a lot of these kind of films. But it's a great movie. Check it out. The Searchers is my favorite Western movie of all time. John Wayne, in a very most anti-John Wayne role of all time. Has great Western parts of it. The Monument Valley never looks better than it does in The Searchers. And this is definitely my favorite John Ford and John Wayne movie. And like I said, my favorite Western of all time. Selma is a very good biopic. It kind of takes the legend and the myths of Martin Luther King and makes him more to a human being. I think Selma's a very good film. Serenity, I talked about Firefly earlier, but I think Serenity is a very good movie. If we weren't going to get another season of Firefly, I'm glad we got Serenity. Wish we could have got another season of Firefly, though. Sicario, I've not seen this movie since I saw it the first time, but it's Denis Villeneuve once again, and it's a movie I definitely need to check out again. Shawshank Redemption is a movie I watch about once every year. This movie, I mean, about the human spirit and about never giving up. I mean, it's such a good film. Shazam! It's a cool Blu-ray because, you know, it goes from Shazam to the kid, and I like the thing with it. Fun film. I've only seen it the one time, but I'm looking forward to... I'm going to watch it again before Shazam 2 comes out next year. I have the two Sherlock Holmes movies, the first one, and then the second one, A Game of Shadows. I like them both. I like the first one probably a little better, and I'm looking forward to seeing if the third one ever freaking comes out. That was I believe that was a Guy Ritchie films, and they're fun movies. I have Silver Linings Playbook, very good Jennifer Lawrence movie along with Bradley Cooper. It's a good movie. I mean, I just you know, it's what won Jennifer Lawrence her Oscar, and it's a very good film. Next, I have Slumdog Millionaire. I love this movie. This is a very good movie. It's very beautiful. Danny Boyle just knows how to direct movies. The actors are great in the film, and it's just such a good film. I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus. Spartacus, great movie. It's starring the legendary Kirk Douglas, directed by the legendary director of... I can't remember what the guy's name is, but, you know, he did all those iconic movies like 2001. Good movie. It's really what got him to do some of the movies he would later be famous for. Next, I have the two Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies that I like, because I refuse to own Spider-Man 3. It's got Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2. I like Spider-Man 2 better just because of the visual effects, and I think Doc Ock is such a cool villain. I only own Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't really want to own Far From Home. I do want to own No Way Home, so if I see that for sale this Black Friday, I'm definitely going to have to check getting it out. So I have the 3 Star Trek movies, the new movies, the 2009 Into Darkness and Star Trek Beyond. I found this on a sale. Into Darkness I enjoy for Cumberbatch, but 2009 is awesome, and that's like I said, I only own 2 and 3 just because I like the movie so much. Next I have Star Trek 7, or this is Star Trek First Contact. This is the only Next Generation Star Trek film I really like. It's an awesome movie, great speech. It was like, no, the land must be out here! This far, no further. Patrick Stewart, great in that movie. Also, I have Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. I have Star Trek 2 Graphicon, but I let someone borrow it, and I don't know if I'll ever get that movie back again. So, but I own that movie, I may have to re-own it again. Next, I have 12 Monkeys. This is a movie I haven't seen in a very long time, and this is one of my first Blu-rays I've ever bought. I think 12 Monkeys is a great movie. Bruce Willis is great. Brad Pitt, this is like one of his first few movie roles. Great, this movie. Apollo 13, great Tom Hanks movie. Ron Howard, about the failed mission, then somehow getting these guys back home from space. I mean, truly a great thing that says about humanity. Apocalypse Now. This is a movie I've only seen the one time, and you know, it's a movie I definitely need to check out again, because I was kind of underwhelmed when I watched Apocalypse Now. But you know, Francis Ford Coppola, Marlon Brando, it's definitely one of those I have to check out again. Anchorman, The Legend of Rob Burgundy. I actually just bought this movie. This is probably one of my last movies I've added to my Blu-ray collection. I love this movie. I mean, great comedy. I mean, this is the definitive Will Ferrell movie. 21 Jump Street. I like 22 Jump Street. But I think 21 Jump Street's a far better movie. I would love to see him do a 23 Jump Street or whatever, but we'll see that maybe one day. Maybe not. 1917. I've only seen the movie one time. I bought this on 4K. Saw a great deal on it. I have my PS5 ready to go. I just need to watch it one day. I love 1917. Great war movie. Would have been in my top 10 if I had seen it before I did my top 10 that year. 13 Hours, The Secret Soldier of Benghazi. One of the few Michael Bay movies I've actually watched and enjoy. But, you know, Michael Bay, he makes a good movie once every 5 to 10 years. Because, you know, I just watched Ambulance and I like that movie. I would buy that movie. Next, I have both Quiet Places, A Quiet Place and Quiet Place Part 2. Like both movies, both are very enjoyable. Great from, I just talked about John Krasinski, but John Krasinski does a great job in those movies. Another Quentin Tarantino movie, Pulp Fiction. I think I own every Tarantino movie except for Once Upon a Time and Jackie Brown. I don't see myself ever getting Jackie Brown, but I do want to get Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. As You Wish. Princess Bride, awesome movie. I actually need to update this version because the Blu-ray I have is starting to fall apart. So I've had this movie for a few years now. Next, I have The Prestige. Christopher Nolan at his finest. Great movie twist. Love this movie. Never seen a good job. Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman's great in this movie. Not one of my favorite movies, and people love it for some reason. Of course, people love the 80s for some reason. I don't know. Got Predator. I like Predator. Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is the only movie in my mind where I felt like Arnold Schwarzenegger was kind of pushed around by another person. So, yeah, Predator's awesome. It has moments. And the new one, Prey, that's a good movie as well. I have Power Rangers. This is a movie that reminds me of my childhood. It's not the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but I still really enjoyed the movie. Yeah, and I wish they would have made a sequel, but they spent a lot of money on a movie that you really didn't see a lot of Power Rangers in. Next, I have the movie The Post. Another Steven Spielberg movie, Tom Hanks, the legendary Meryl Streep. It's very similar to All the President's Men, just a little different. I really enjoyed the movie. I would definitely watch it again. That's why I bought it. Platoon. This is another movie I have never seen. This is, like I said, brother bought me a bunch of war movies, and Platoon's just one of those I haven't seen. Need to check it out sooner rather than later. Next, I have Big. I love this movie. Tom Hanks. This is back when Tom Hanks was doing his comedy roles, and he is so funny in this movie. He's so good in the movie. I really like it. Aviator. This is really what created the love scenes, the love between Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, they made so many good movies together, but yeah, Aviator is such a good one. Next, I have Patton. Patton, I mean, God, that's such a good movie. I mean, the beginning of the movie with George C. Scott talking in front of the American flag, and, you know, this really changed the way biopics were made. Yeah, Patton's a good one. Next, I have Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. I really like this movie. This is the only one I own and the only one I will ever own because it's really the only one I really enjoy. I mean, that scene at the beginning of the movie whenever he has that ship and he lands the Port Royal and the ship's going down, you understand exactly what kind of character you're dealing with. Love that film. Next, I have the Man with No Name movie trilogy. I really enjoyed this film. I love these films. I mean, it's Fistful of Dollars, Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and A Few Dollars More. The only one I haven't seen is A Few Dollars More, and that's one I'm going to watch soon. I just, you know, that's probably a next year project. But Good, Bad, the Ugly is one of the greatest westerns, one of the greatest movie scores of all time, and Fistful of Dollars, it's very good as well. I also have the first season of Dexter. I really like Dexter first season. It's probably my favorite season of the show. The show does get worse as the show goes along. I mean, after you get past season 4, season 5 I enjoy, but season 6 and season 8 is horrible. The new Dexter's not bad. It kind of saves the show. Next I have The Departed. I'm not a fucking cop. Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, and Marky Mark are in this movie. I really enjoyed the movie. It's one of my favorite Scorsese films. But once again, DiCaprio, Scorsese. What more do you want? Next, I have The Descendants. This is a movie I've only seen one time. This is not the only Shailene Woodley movie I was like, she's going to be a star. She hasn't really turned out to be a star, but she's good in the movie. But I really remember this movie more for George Clooney's really good in this movie, and it's one I want to watch again. Next, I have Deadpool. This is the only Deadpool movie I own. This is the only one I really like. I didn't like Deadpool 2 that much. It was okay. It could have been a lot better. But yeah, Deadpool's awesome. I mean, breaking the fourth wall. It was a passion project. Glad Ryan Reynolds was finally able to unsew Deadpool's mouth. The last of the Planet of the Apes trilogy I've been talking about during this video. I love this movie. This is my favorite of the trilogy. I love this movie. I can't wait to see what Disney decides to do next with it. Next, I have the other two movies of the Batman Begins Dark Knight trilogy. I have The Dark Knight, which I consider the greatest comic book movie ever made. This movie changed the way superhero movies were made. And then I have The Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises, is it as good as Dark Knight? No, but you're never going to be able to make a movie as good as The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises has moments in the movie. Is it perfect? No, but tell me what movie's perfect. But I enjoy there's some fun stuff in this film. This is a movie I haven't finished all the way, and that's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. This is one of the more recent movies I have bought, and I mean, I found it for a pretty cheap price, and it's one of those movies I gotta watch it eventually because I always hear it's one of the greatest martial arts films ever made. So, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, definitely worthy of being in my collection. Next, I have the other two films of the Rocky series, and that's Creed and Creed 2. I love Creed. I didn't like Creed 2 as much as the first Creed, but I still enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing what Michael B. Jordan does in Creed 3, and that trailer for Creed 3 looked amazing. A really cool romantic comedy, and that is Crazy Stupid Love. I mean, I've talked about it in this video already. Steve Carell's awesome. I really like Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. I think they have great chemistry together. And the movie's it's a good little rom-com. It's very good. Next, I have Cowboy Bebop the series, one of my favorite animes of all time, and Cowboy Bebop the movie that takes place in between the show. I love both of these. I love Cowboy Bebop. I wish the live action show could have been as good as the show. But, you know, sometimes it just doesn't work out. Then I have Cloverfield. I love Cloverfield. I like 10 Cloverfield Lane. Didn't like the Space Netflix one. But Cloverfield's great. I mean, it reminds me of like a Godzilla, and the found footage element of the movie is what makes Cloverfield so good. Next, I have Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Man, what a good movie. I mean, this is, once again, Steven Spielberg at his finest. And, you know, this was a movie that got nominated for an Oscar, and this is one of those movies that I think if Spielberg had made it today, it wouldn't be as good. And Close Encounters, definitely. And it was during that sci-fi craze in the late 70s. Next, I have Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. As this movie aged a bit, yes, I've watched it like last year, I think, and I was like, man, this movie's aged a little, but it's still a very enjoyable film, and it's a cool, if you're needing a fantasy kick, check out that. Next, I have Chronicle. I've actually never seen this movie. One movie I'll have to watch soon. And one more movie I haven't seen, but one I want to watch is Casino, directed by Marty Scorsese and Robert De Niro. It has Joe Pesci in there. I mean, it's a movie I gotta watch. So guys, that's it. I'm done. Like, I don't know how, I have a lot of movies, and this was kind of fun to do. It's going to take a long time probably to edit, but really I won't have much to edit. My camera was dying through bits and pieces, so if the camera looks a little more zoomed in than it did at the beginning of the video, or more zoomed out, that's probably why. So yeah, guys, what's the favorite movie I talked about, or how many movies do you own? I have a movie app, and I think I have over 240 Blu-rays, or just like movies, because you know I have a bunch of collections. So now there's the hard part about this, putting all these movies back on my movie shelf. Oh, God save me. Alright guys, so what are your thoughts on my Blu-ray collection? Where they are, comment below, let me know. And guys, if you like this video, click that thumbs up button, subscribe, see more, tell your friends about Easy Nation. All too easy.